Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn about the UNESCO World Heritage Site of the Mausoleum of the first Qin Emperor. We will begin by looking at the history surrounding the site, followed by the UNESCO World Heritage status qualifications. After that, I will go over some general site information and its associated rich cultural industry. Finally, we will end off with tourism and the nationalism associated with this site. The first emperor of the Qin dynasty, also known as Qin Shi Huangdi, lived from 259 to 210 BCE. His reign started when he was only 13 years old, and he went on to become the first unifier of China, uniting the warring kingdoms at the time. Qin Shi Huangdi is remembered in Chinese history as the great unifier of China, who went on to build the Great Wall to protect the Qin dynasty territories and promoted common currency and writing. In China and throughout the world, Qin Shi Huangdi is regarded as an indisputable symbol of power and empire. Building the emperor's mausoleum was a massive project. According to a Han Dynasty historian, more than 700,000 laborers worked on the mausoleum for 36 years to complete it. This showed the influence of the Qin emperor's rule, as there are only a few people throughout history who can command almost 1 million people to work on something for more than 3 decades. After the fall of the Qin dynasty, the mausoleum was ransacked and destroyed by the rebellion army, and it became lost to history as vegetation overtook the landscape. The construction of the mausoleum began while Qin Shi Huangdi was still at the throne, as he was already contemplating his journey into the afterlife. After more than 2,000 years, the site was accidentally rediscovered by farmers in 1974 who were trying to dig a well in the area. After hearing of this discovery, archaeologists rushed to the scene to study it, employing many techniques such as remote sensing, infrared technologies, and the geophysical surveys to learn about the layout of the tomb. Qin Shi Huang's Mausoleum Site Museum was opened in 1979 as a dedicated organization associated with the provincial government to study the site. The museum is home to more than 50,000 artifacts and an estimated 8,000 terracotta warriors. Without implementing database technologies, one museum worker jokingly said that it would take more than a year to go through the museum catalog by a single person. Despite the many years of rigorous academic research and studying regarding the site, much of the complex is still unexplored, showing the sheer size of the tomb of the first emperor. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, also known as UNESCO, granted the site World Heritage status in the year 1987. It is the largest preserved archaeological site in China, protected by laws of the Chinese government and conserved by the government subsidiary of the Qin Shi Huang's Mausoleum Site Museum. To qualify as a World Heritage Site, one of the 10 criteria set by UNESCO need to be met. the mausoleum site met 4 of the 10 criteria, specifically 1, 3, 4, and 6. Criteria 1 is for the site to represent a masterpiece of human creative genius. This was accomplished by the massive size of the site, uniting the forces of the Chinese people for many years to complete. Criteria 3 is for the site to bear a unique testimony to a cultural tradition or to a civilization. The site's rich history is a testament to the rise and fall of the Qin dynasty. The army of terracotta warriors and the other artifacts are a proof of the cultural traditions at the time. Criteria 4 is for an outstanding example of building, architectural, or technological, which illustrates significant stages in human history. The tomb itself has unique architectural features which reflects those of the old Chinese capital of Xianyang and the other cultural influences. The artifacts at the site, such as the bronze turrets, are outstanding examples of bronze working technology of the Chinese people in the Qin dynasty. Finally, criteria 6 is for the site to be associated with events or living traditions. This site represents the first unification of Chinese territory and thus becoming of China as a country. And I believe that is a significant event that will forever be in Chinese tradition. Some of these criteria overlap with each other, such as a building that was created using human genius can potentially satisfy criteria 1 and 4. Nevertheless, the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor will forever be a key part of Chinese cultural identity and continue to bring awe to people around the world. Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum site, also called the Terracotta Museum, has a UNESCO World Heritage Site area of 56.25 kilometers squared, which is quite massive. The site itself is located in Shanxi Province, 30 kilometers north of the province capital of Xi'an. The tomb mound itself is 515 meters by 485 meters, with an estimated height of 116 meters. There are about 200 excavation pits at the site where the artifacts and the terracotta warriors are found. The tomb mound incorporated architectural features from the previous Chinese dynasties, as well as the Qin state political rivals. This signifies again the unification of China under the leadership of Qin Shi Huangdi, and how he also integrated the cultures together to accompany him in his death. The site, there is evidence of Asian cultural exchange, such as artifacts featuring acrobat figures that are similar to Vietnam and the Indian traditions. This serves as proof of the political influence of the first emperor not only in China but also in the continent of Asia. When thinking about the Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum, one cannot help also thinking about the terracotta warriors, who are supposed to be the emperor's loyal army ready to serve him in the afterlife. When searching up Chinese archaeology on Google, almost all the images are related to the terracotta warriors and the Qin Shi Huang's Mausoleum Site Museum. This indicates the significance of the site and how the world perceives Chinese archaeological work. There are around 4,000 warriors that have been excavated from the site, but estimates say that there could be up to 8,000 warriors in total. A common misconception surrounding the terracotta warriors is that they have been individually modeled or even made out of real people. This could be seen as a compliment to the Qin dynasty artisans who produced the warriors. They achieved the uniqueness of each warrior by the random arrangement of the same manufactured parts. The clay used for building the terracotta warriors came from two workshops with the inscriptions of Gong and Xianyang. Using X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy analysis, it was shown that the different parts of the terracotta were manufactured separately and then put together. The production of the terracotta warriors not only served to accompany the emperor into the next world, but also demonstrate the massive production capabilities and supply chain management of the Qin dynasty peoples. Another cultural industry found at the site are the stone armors. In an excavation pit separate from the terracotta warrior pits, 200 sets of ceremonial stone armor were found. Each armor has more than 600 stone tiles connected by a cast bronze wire. It is estimated that each armor would take about 3 months to complete, demonstrating once again the mass production capability of the Qin people who worked on this project, as well as the advanced manufacturing techniques required. Unfortunately, after the fall of the Qin dynasty, rebel forces looted the mausoleum structure, burning down many of the past buildings at the site. Some stone armors did not survive the looting and the high temperatures, turning from limestone calcium carbonate into a white powder of calcium oxide. In the entire site, there are only 2 bronze chariots. Each chariot is half life-sized, featuring 4 bronze horses and 1 charioteer. Each chariot was made from about 5,500 parts, employing cast joints and welded joints. These 2 massive projects sought to build on Bronze Age technology to reach new heights in Chinese metalworking techniques. Various techniques were not seen in previous time periods, such as triple welding, hard soldering, and repair patches, suggesting the craftsmen working on these chariots had improved upon previous bronze working technologies. There is also evidence to suggest that the advanced metallurgy and engineering techniques were similar to Persian and Central Asian chariots. If this was true, then the influence of the Qin dynasty was far-reaching along the Silk Road, testifying the power of Qin Shi Huang. The Mausoleum Site Museum received more than 5 million visitors in the year 2019. Around 51% of visitors are students, and many people choose to revisit the site museum at 65%, with 35% visiting twice or more. The site is a symbol of Chinese cultural pride, especially with the older generations, who are more appreciative of this cultural heritage. The museum, alongside the Chinese government authorities, use tourism to create a favorable impression on the country and the museum. They also capitalize on the idea of the exotic East to attract foreign tourists to visit the country and the site. Aside from the museum image marketing, the Mausoleum Site Museum also actively integrates new technologies such as 3D modeling and augmented reality to enhance the visitor experience, improving accessibility and reaching a wider audience. China joined the United Nations in the year 1971. Using the Terracotta Museum as a stepping stone, China propelled itself onto the world stage as not some poor country in Asia, but a country with a rich history and a once glorious and powerful civilization. There are many terracotta warrior forgeries around the world that operate illegally, though there are some legit forgeries managed by the Chinese government to produce the fakes by themselves. It's surprising to know that even known copies of forgeries are showcased in museums, because people are very eager to see the terracotta warriors. The emperor's terracotta warrior and the site itself both represent an exotic idea of a past empire that captures the interest of the Western world. There is unified scholarship and ideas surrounding the site, but there are also censored competing ideas, with the foremost being imperialism. During Qin Shi Huang's time, the Qin state commenced colonial expansion into the south, doubling the country's size and eventually into the size of China today. The accompanying brutality of the conquest and the oppression of the conquered people are forbidden topics, uncritically accepted by China and the world. People look in awe across the world at terracotta warrior exhibitions and at the Mausoleum Site Museum, but they should be more critical of the nationalism agenda and the cover-up imperialism behind history.